Hello everyone, it's AJ with FBS Securities. Just wanted to provide you a quick market update. Today is Thursday, uh, Feb 27th, right after market close. So there's been a lot of blood on the streets for the past couple of weeks, and just wanted to provide some levels and updates as to where I think we can look to anticipate a bounce. So for the day, S&P was down 1.6%, Nasdaq was down 2.78%, and Magnificent Seven were down around 2.62%. For the month, Mag 7 is down now over 10%, and S&P is just under 3%, and Qs are just over 4%. Before I continue into anything else, this information is for educational purposes only and should not be used as investment advice. So we'll get right into some charts. So if you look at it from a technical perspective, the S&P has basically been in this range for the past 4 or 3 months since December. What happened is, we've tried to break lower. We've had some failures. We've tried to break higher, most recently a couple weeks ago, and that was a failed breakout. So now we've created this gap on the upside, which, you should watch my gap video explaining why, bearish and bullish gaps are very important to watch, and how those can kind of impact the overall movement of a particular stock, or in this case, the market. And so now we're kind of into, well, we did have a really strong support at this 586.4 level, and we have one more gap here around 582 quarter. So if this starts to fail, then I really like this 569 area for really strong support for the rest of the year, and see how this fares. But if you do get that correction, then that would be around a little over a 7% correction from the highs, which is still in par for a normal correction that you should expect within any calendar year. You will typically see at least one or two 5 to 10% corrections, given any calendar year for the index, and this is something that's still within a pretty reasonable range, and whatnot. So if you look at Nasdaq, which has kind of been where most of the damage has been done. Nasdaq again, or Qs in this case, again very similar. We've been in this range bound area. Tried to break lower here early January, and again another failed breakout higher. And we did create a very small gap over here as well. So now again, we've tested the bottom of the range, and we're actually getting close to the Jan lows, which is right at 499.7. So if that does break, then we do still have our election gap that has to fill around 492.2. And then again, major support for this year is around the 489 or 490 level. So Nasdaq, of course, will have the more will be down a lot more. So right now it's down 7.54%. And if he gets to that major support, it'd be down just under 10% for the year. And I would hopefully I'd like to anticipate a bounce in this area if we do start to drift a little bit lower, which from now is just another 2%. So if you look at some more technicals, or rather some fundamental trends, sorry, not fundamental trends, but just some more seasonal trends, the second half of February does tend to be a little bit more volatile, and we are and that's sort of playing into effect, especially the past couple weeks, and whatnot. So just if you go over my oscillator as well, so I've been talking about, how the oscillator hasn't been able to sort of break higher. So as price was sort of trying to break higher, the oscillator was going a little bit lower. But nonetheless, this is updated as of yesterday. Again, after close, or rather tomorrow morning, this will be updated. I do anticipate this to be kind of near a very oversold area. So I think we should start to hopefully see a bottom form out. Now, unfortunately, but Fridays, they have been very bad this year. I think almost every single Friday so far this year has been negative. So I wouldn't be too optimistic to see some sort of bounce back tomorrow, but just have to be a little bit patient, and kind of let the players take their hand. So I think the sentiment did drop really quick, really fast, which is kind of a good sign to support a bounce. And if we kind of look at, I'll pull this up. So you can also access this. It's the CNBC fear and greed indicator. We're already at extreme fears about only being down just over, 5% on S&P and, just under 7% for the Nasdaq. So I think we will start to get into a bounceable area. As you can see, just within a week, we went from 45 to now 18. So a very strong flip in sentiment as well. So if I'm looking at the sectors overall, I have a lot more sectors that I watch and check some of them. I particularly just watched these SMH and the XLK, which is tech. So over the past couple of years, you can kind of, or past couple of weeks, you can see that XLK kind of was pretty stagnant. There wasn't too much movement in the overall price. And so if you're kind of looking at, or sorry, the overall trend. So now if you're kind of looking into the end of Feb 14th, XOK had a sharp turn lower. SMH still was, doesn't have the strongest conviction on the leading side either. So now just over, basically for the past 2 weeks, kind of been showing that there's been weaker sort of relevance in tech. And then now last week, or rather this Monday, SMH did have a sharp turn lower. And if you kind of monitor some of the defensive sectors, XLE, TLT, materials, XLV, and even the home builders are starting to see some more flows, which kind of like, usually it's a risk off sort of environment. And yeah, I mean, it's been, a very, you know, it's been a bad week and a bad couple weeks overall for the market. But, in all scheme of things, this is a pretty standard correction that you should look forward to in any given calendar year. I'll post another chart. I don't have the actual screenshot for it. I have it stapled on my on my board up there. But it basically shows that in any calendar year, a 5% correction is expected or happens 94% of the time. So almost 100% of the time, at least a 5 percent correction does occur. And so I'll post that statistics in the chat as well. But yeah, just wanted to give you a quick update and just to watch out for some of the levels that we should anticipate seeing a bounce. That's it. That's all I have. Hope you have a good rest of the day.